Hello, good afternoon. I thought I'd quickly come in while I have a few minutes. The babies are sleeping in the car. So I'm going to whisper if I can. So, as you know, we are trying to establish what other eco groups are already existing in Essex. If you know of any, could you please tag us or invite us or tell us, so we can kind of keep tabs on how many groups there are, where they're located. I've uploaded a map, a very basic map with currently only 4 red dots on it, which are the only groups, 5 might be 5 groups that I know about. I can't help thinking that there must be loads more. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if there was like 20 groups out there, but there might not be, and if there isn't, we probably need 20 groups, to be honest. So the idea that I talked about the other day, I won't repeat myself hopefully too much. So if you haven't got a group near you, so first thing to think about, is there a group nearby that is still going to post relevant information for you? So somebody mentioned about Rayleigh. Now, Rayleigh, if you don't know where Rayleigh is about 5 miles away from Southend. So we currently have a Southend group, and we have a Rochford group and a Benfleet group. Now, Rayleigh is actually kind of smack bang in the middle of all 3 of those groups, and within a 5-mile radius, Rayleigh has access to all those 3 groups. Therefore, I can't help thinking that it's not really essential, because there will always be repetition. So if I live in Rochford, I'm only a couple of miles away from Southend, so we might post something about Southend in the Rochford group because it's still relevant if you live in Rochford, because you're allowed to go out of Rochford, and we might still post stuff about Rayleigh, and Benfleet might post stuff about Rayleigh. So I think that kind of location is covered by the areas around it. Like, we don't want to get too panicky about it, because I think when I looked into it before, Essex has, I think it's about 200 towns or villages or cities. Now, it would start getting silly if we had 200 groups, because it would be unmanageable really, and there would be so much repetition. It would actually make it more work for everybody involved, and the idea is this is supposed to streamline the system as such and make it easier. So really, I guess we need groups probably set out, I don't know, around every like 10 plus miles or something would be useful, like the next biggest town, and then that town can have its surrounding areas. So Basildon, for example, I don't know if there's one in Basildon. We could have an eco group in Basildon, and that would cover the surrounding areas, perhaps the Basildon postcode or the Basildon villages around it, that kind of thing, and one in Grays and the surrounding villages. So kind of wherever you live, you're covered by an eco group as such, to talk about local issues near you. So if you haven't got a group like this, have a think about whether it's something you could set up. And what's involved in this is as much or little work as you want, because you can share the responsibility with a Facebook group. You can have various admins, or you could be the official admin, but you could have other moderators helping you, for example, which is what we do at Eco Essex. Me and Hannah have always been the only admin, but we have various different moderators to support us on the various different groups, depending on what their interests and skills and knowledge is. And that's really helpful, because I can't always be there to accept membership requests or look at follow-up posts that maybe are a bit controversial or something. So it's actually really useful to have a team behind you. So my suggestion is, if you're thinking about it, is maybe try and get a team of, say, 3 of you. Might be a nice number, at least 2 or 3 of you. At least 2 probably, depending on how big your area is. If it's only a tiny little village, it's probably fine to do it on your own. And the kind of things what I'm thinking about, so if you so let me just think about Rochford, where I live now. So the kind of things I'm thinking are, if you live in wherever you live, you want to know what's going on near you that's relevant. So I want to know about where my TerraCycle drop-off points are. I want to know when the next Rochford litter picking events are. I want to know what my Rochford Council are doing to help climate change. I want to know about waste disposal and recycling in my area. I might also be interested to know what the local schools are doing to educate our children in our community. I might also want to see what businesses people recommend. So if I want to go and shop for something specific, I'd like to know which businesses are recommended from their sustainability point of view, which ones are making an effort, which ones care. So those kind of recommendations. Like I said in the other video the other day, if you haven't watched it, please watch that one. The way the system will work best is if the local groups are kept to being local related, because there is a lot of repetition of posts out there on these kind of eco groups because everybody wants to share everything. But actually, if you're on a local group, you want to know about local stuff. You don't want to get bombarded with people's, recommendations over what face cloths to have or what bamboo toothbrush and stuff, because that will take up all the news feed and stuff on that local group, so you won't then see all the local stuff that's going on. Facebook's a bit annoying because it doesn't let you see everything that you might want to see, so therefore you don't want to clutter up a group with unnecessary stuff. So then, as I've said before, Eco Essex can be the general hub kind of group of general stuff, general information. So if you decided to set up a group in Basildon, for example, keep that Basildon and the surrounding area specific. And then if people want to know about where to buy a bamboo toothbrush, unless it's locally, like where can I buy one in Basildon, I'm going out today to the local shops, as in it's relevant to their location. If it's just like I'm shopping online, I want to know where to buy one, then it doesn't matter where they live. It doesn't matter if they're in Basildon or wherever, Scotland, they can buy it online anywhere. So therefore direct them to the Eco Essex group, and have it there as a link, have it in the description that this is the way the group's going to run. It's about local issues, and then please link with our whatever group you want to call us, our sister group, our associate group, or whatever, our link group, Eco Essex, for general information, recommendations, tips, resources. And then as we have lots of various location specific groups start up or find out about all of them, then Eco Essex won't need to post anything about local events anymore, because at the moment we post about events that we hear because there's nowhere else that we know of to post them. But that won't happen in the future. If there's an event in Colchester, for example, that will just be advertised in Colchester and surrounding groups. Eco Essex won't then take up any feed about those kind of things. It will just be general information. So if you're thinking about it, you're just not sure, you're worried about how much time it's going to take up, as I say, it takes up as much or a little time as you want. So for example, you can have a group where members are automatically allowed in. It means you can't necessarily control any trolls or people in the group that you might not want, but you can always get rid of people. You can always block them at a later date if controversy comes up, which it does. You could also have it where you have membership questions, which makes your life harder and makes it a bit more time consuming, because then you have to check that people have answered the questions, and if they haven't, then you have to chase them. And then so the other thing you can do is people can just put on any post that they like. They're free to put on whatever post they like, or you can have it that you have to check the post, you have to agree the post before it's submitted. Again, that makes more work for you as an admin. So there are ways to make it easier and harder for you depending on how much time you've got. As I say, the best thing to do is share the responsibility. And then basically build up links in your community. So once you've got a Facebook group up and running, like the next stage from that would be about setting up a community. So rather than it just being online groups, actually like meet face to face. Wow, we can actually meet face to face and talk to each other and interact, rather than just being online people. So just examples, you might want to get local businesses together in your village and say, look, come on, let's have a meeting, let's just have a coffee morning, like tea and cake, nothing formal, let's just have a chat about what we can be doing in our local businesses, let's share tips, let's share ideas, let's why don't businesses sign up to the water refill scheme, or reusable bags in regards to one of the initiatives like we've tried to do Eco Essex is get businesses to just take people's old plastic bags that they no longer need, have a box by their counter, and then people can help themselves to a bag without you having to buy bags to give your customers. paper bags or plastic bags, and you know, you're not adding to production of more rubbish that people don't need. Literally, the bags are rubbish in themselves, aren't they? So like, there's loads of things. So you could get businesses together in your local village. As I say, you might want to set up a TerraCycle drop-off point, for example. You might want to organise a litter picking. You might want to sit down and meet with councillors. So then, like, the stage 1 is kind of setting up the Facebook group. Stage 2 is actually building up the community and building up a group of people that want to help. So you can set up a climate action group, I think it's called. That's, you know, I would suggest you just kind of set up the Facebook group and build a community and network with people first. But then, like, after then, you know, all these individual villages and towns can make a real difference with this. This is like the starting point, really. And then my thoughts are with it then, if you had, let's just say, for example, we have 20 groups over Essex, individual groups, then with Eco Essex and other people love Essex, for example, which are part of Essex County Council, we have another group which is for admins of these eco groups, and we can all link about ideas to share in our own areas. So we could say, well, in Rochford we've set up this initiative, this is working really, really well, why don't anyone else think about rolling it out where they live? So we can all support each other with ideas and share. So as an admin of a group, you wouldn't be on your own anyway. You could join other groups around you. So Rochford and Southend and Benfleet admins, for example, all kind of join each other's groups, I think they have, so they can see what's going on locally again to them-ish, and they can get support and ideas from each other. So yeah, that's kind of a bit about the Facebook and admin role. Please let me know if you're interested and you want to chat about the idea. And also, just a little shout out, if you didn't know, just in case you haven't heard, we've got an eco fair this Saturday, Leonsea at Lee Road Baptist Church, 10 o'clock till 3 o'clock. There is going to be talks and presentations and kids activities and craft and scavenger hunts and seed planting and stalls and games and activities and photo opportunities at Eco Essex stall. So loads to do. You could spend a good 2 or 3 hours there, I reckon. So please come along with your family on Saturday and support us and the church. Donations welcome towards any of the activities during the day. Thank you very much. Bye bye.